Well, you did it, Nolan. You rallied us all together so we can start talking about ancient Greece. Awesome. That's nice. It's a nice opportunity for us to come out and all celebrate the ancient Greek history and the ancient Greek mythology. Historians, people that are of Greek origin, of non-Greek origin, of whatever, you know, all coming together in this beautiful event where you have defiled the ancient Greek mythology, specifically the ancient Hellenic. There's a difference there. Those of you that know. The ancient Hellenic mythology. And you defiled it, and your defiling of it and your destruction of it has, well, you know, like there's only so much you can push certain people down before they start to, you know, shine and explode, and then you just see the backlash and you're like, holy shit, where the fuck were they all at? Well, we've been silent, we've been patient, we've been trying to be considerate about other people's emotions and feelings and opinions and all that stuff, but there's a limit. There's a certain limit. And that's what a lot of you don't understand. You guys are taking advantage of the fact that we actually are people that accept. I'm not talking about the Hellenes and the Greeks. I'm talking about generally normal people. Normal people accept other people. Normal people accept other opinions. Normal people have different opinions. They can debate them and so on and so forth. And because we accept that, you start pushing more and more and more. And then there's like a limit where you realize you're not here. You're not trying to. You're using like all this weird victimhood wording to try and push opinions that are sick in the head. Let's just be honest about it. So you have problems and you have issues. So let's get into that. I wasn't going to initially make a video on this, but after I saw all the Nolanites and how they rallied behind, like the comments that I saw that rallied behind supporting the Odyssey, fused with all the woke crowd that are supporting it as well, it's just like, yeah, we gotta talk about this, guys. So I've made a little list of a whole bunch of points that I want to go over. These are basically, it's a list of things that people, like comments that I saw. These are exact comments that I saw. And excuses and bullshit. I'm going to debunk every single one of them right here for you, and I'm going to try to make this short and simple so your small brains can actually grasp it and understand it. Okay, so the first one, mythology is not real, it's just made up stories. Okay, let's just say that that's true, which it isn't, but let's just say that that's true. Okay, it's still part of a culture. It's still part of that culture's history. It's been around for 3,000 years. It has symbolism, mythology or stories or whatever it is that is written has a specific lore to it, has a specific culture, has a specific, you know, fiction or whatever it is. There's a reason behind what it resonates, what imagery it's creating, what kind of symbolism it's trying to pass by, what kind of symbolism it's trying to use to teach certain lessons or ethical, you know, perspectives and opinions and so on and so forth. So, you know, a work of art or a piece of art or something that has been written, the fact that you people are that fucking dumb to not understand that once something is written and it's done and it belongs to someone, you leave it the fuck alone. Okay? You leave it the fuck alone because it doesn't belong to you. And you can't sit there and say, oh, it doesn't, you know, because all these thousands of years. Exactly. That actually makes it worse. Seeing as like, oh, Greek mythology doesn't belong to anyone. It belongs to the Greek culture. It belongs to the Hellenic culture, and it belongs to the world culture at that point, the world history. Okay, because it is part of world history, like just like every country's history is part of world history, and more specifically, it is tied to the DNA, the lore, the culture, and the history of ancient Greece, and by extension modern Greece, and it has been like that for 3,000 years. So, if anything, this solidifies the fact that this is a very specific, you know, piece of work, and you don't fuck around with it. It's that simple. If you don't like it, go make your own shit. So, the first stupid shit that I hear, it's not real. And your point is? Oh, what's your point? So you're telling me that if I make my own Star Wars tomorrow, you have the right to make my Luke Skywalker into, you know, an evil villain. Because you just like, you know what, it's not real anyway. It belongs to me. It's my fucking work. The Odyssey, the Iliad, it's part of Greek heritage. It belongs to us. So I'm going to say this one time, and one time alone. Actually, no, I'm going to say it many times. Let's just be honest. Don't fuck with my history. Okay? So now you're hearing this from a fucking Greek coming to you, because apparently you're not listening well with all the other motherfuckers, and you're like, you know, the next thing that I'm going to say a little bit more down. Why do you care? I'll get into that. I'll get into it. Don't fuck with my history. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. Don't fuck with it. Okay, now let's go. Second point. The second excuse that I hear is that the actors are good. In what plane of existence are the actors good? First of all, and second of all, I'm going to tie this up with another thing that I had seen, which is I don't wait, no, I don't care about the casting so long as it is good casting. Okay, so I'm going to put those two together. First of all, I don't think I've ever seen Anne Hathaway in anything that's been good. Like, I've seen her in good films, but her performance is just trash. It's just generic shit. Like, nobody cares. Matt Damon, he's alright. Probably among the better of the actors in this. If you look at the other actors as well, some of them are good, some of them are not that good. Like Tom Holland. Tom Holland is awesome for Spider-Man. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything but you know, like it suits his role, it suits his casting. Okay, so maybe he'll be okay for the child of Odysseus, I guess, maybe. Anne Hathaway sucks. Robert Pattinson is pretty cool. Yeah, he's pretty cool. So is Charlize Theron. She's a pretty good actress. Zendaya is bad. Like, she can't act. Like, she's got 3 expressions and that's it. You know, frown, pissed off frown, and then, you know, and confused frown. You know what I mean? That's it. Elliot Page, even as Ellen Page, done nothing special. It's like, okay, people were just into her because she was cute. That's about it. Like, nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? Like, if you look at the actor and the cast, and you like tell me that these are top-notch actors, that's the first thing. Like, it's not like that the whole cast is something amazing. John Bernthal is pretty good, but he's, you know, for specific things. Like, I can't picture him being a Spartan. It's like, you know, I'm gonna bet top dollar on that he's probably gonna be talking as if he's from New York, having seen how the dialogue is between all the actors and all that stuff. But the thing is here, not just having good actors, it's also having the correct cast. You know, some actors, they just don't fit in certain roles, and that's just the way it is. Like, for example, look at Russell Crowe. If those of you that haven't seen the story, look into it. They wanted him for Wolverine, and he said no, and they got Hugh Jackman. Can you imagine Russell Crowe's Wolverine? It just doesn't suit him. It doesn't suit him, but he was just, you know, he was so popular at the time, so they wanted to have, you know, Russell Crowe. It doesn't suit him. Is Russell Crowe a bad actor? No. He's one of the greats. He's a great actor. A good Aussie bloke. Same as Hugh Jackman. Both great actors. But he just doesn't fit the role. So you have to understand that those two things go together. Saying that the actors are good, you care that the actors are good and the casting is good. Good acting. Like the casting is bad all over the place. Matt Damon doesn't look like a fucking Odysseus. Like, Jesus, why? He looks scrawny, crabby, shitty, just because you slap a beard on him. I'm almost expecting him to turn around and say, "How do you like them apples?" You know what I mean? And not even with, not even with an epic, you know, old English accent, like straight away New York accent. You know what I mean? The rest of the actors, they just, like, you know, as I'm looking at them, like Robert Pattinson's pretty good. Just, yeah, but they don't fit. Like, you look at Robert Pattinson in the trailer, and it looks like Robert Pattinson. It doesn't feel like he's part of the world. You look at Charlize Theron, and you're like, doesn't look like her. You look at Anne Hathaway, you're like, it doesn't feel like she's part of the world. You look at Tom Holland, doesn't feel like it's, like, nothing fits. Nothing fits. It just looks like everything's all over the fucking place. And you gotta cast the right people for the right role, which then goes to the big elephant in the room. Lupita Nyong'o is like, I'm sorry, but you're not white, you're not fair-skinned, you're not fair-haired, you're not blonde, and you don't have blue eyes. And you sure as fuck ain't the most beautiful woman in a room, much less beautiful enough for an entire country to sell 1,000 ships for you. Okay? So let's just say that. And now this starts going into the next excuses on this shit. Achilles was fair-skinned, somebody said. And this was with regards to the whole people getting angry over Elliot, and we should, at the idea of him, her, it being Achilles. Achilles was fair-skinned, that means he was blonde. It doesn't mean that he was a woman. Do you understand the difference? Like, they're trying to use that, I've seen the comment, and he's trying to explain that, you know, that fair means feminine. Like, are you mixing up words on purpose? Are you trying to do this on purpose? Or is it just like, does it come natural to you? Are you that brainwashed that you don't even understand what words mean and you're just all over the place? Are you all over the place? Fair skin means that he is blonde. Now, chances are that alien Page, honestly, yeah, at this point, alien Page, chances are is not Achilles. But I don't care who the fuck it is, because it doesn't look like an ancient Greek warrior. And we go to the next part here now, which is like, hey, mythology is not real and all that stuff. Yeah, but this is based on real events. The wars happened, and it's based on actual, like when I write a story, for example, and I talk about World War II, when I'm talking about the soldiers in World War II, it might be fictional, like I'm creating a character in that whole world, and he might be a hero, and I'm making something in, but the soldiers and all that stuff have to be soldiers from World War II. They existed. It's part of a historical event. Ancient Greek warriors existed. We have findings of their body structures, their bodies and all that stuff, their muscle fibers, their bone structure fibers. I'm sorry, but Alien Page is like, I'm gonna keep calling it Alien Page, by the way, E.T. Phone Home. Alien Page is like scrawnier than an 8-year-old Spartan that is ready to go to the Agogi. Like if an 8-year-old Spartan came and kicked Alien Page in the balls, I don't know, like what is and what in the stomach, let's just say. You'll be able to put her down in an instant. An 8-year-old, and that's supposed to be like, I don't care if it's the youngest soldier or not. It's not a soldier. It's not a soldier. So now we're going to the next part where they started to really fuck around with the symbolism, and they're trying to destroy again for one more time masculinity and all that stuff. And by extension, then we reach to the point of realizing, what is this based on? Well, it's based on a translation, because translating something means that you see words and you actually translate them. It doesn't mean that you just come up with what you think they were trying to say. That's not translation, that's an interpretation. There's a difference between interpretation and translation. So it's based on an interpretation of a modern feminist that's just completely lost the ball at this point and is writing a whole bunch of weird, crazy shit in there. So they're changing the genders, they're changing the masculinity, they're changing the whole point behind the film, they're changing the whole point behind the whole plot, and they're race swapping. There's not a single Greek, I don't think, in the entire cast, and even if there is, it's probably like some camera crew, which then goes into the next funny, argument, which is completely irrelevant. Check this one out. Norse gods in Marvel weren't actually Norse people. Yeah, but I don't know if you noticed, but Chris Hemsworth, that's his name, isn't it? He's Australian. Another good Aussie bloke. By the way, for those of you that don't know, I grew up in Australia and came back to Greece. I was born in Greece, grew up in Australia from the age 6 to 21, and I've been back in Greece for the last 15 years. No, 22 years. Holy shit, time passes. I've been back in Greece since the age of 21 for the last 22 years. Good Aussie kid. He looks, he's blonde, and his features and his characteristics, he's not even from Europe, you know what I mean? But of course the bloodline's European and all that stuff, but he's not even from Europe, he's actually Australian, he's in the fucking Pacific, you know what I mean? He looks Norse. You have to at least look like the part. So I don't know like how like the comparisons they're making is completely all over the place, you know what I mean? They're trying, it's so obvious that they're trying tooth and nail so hard to find something to just use as an excuse, and it's just so empty excuses that they fall through, and it's hilarious. Okay, next one. We haven't seen the full story, so we don't know. Yes, but we have seen the trailer, and by that notion we should have never said anything at Sonic when we saw the Sonic trailers and it looked like trash. We should have not said anything and be like, well, we haven't seen the film, so we don't know. Sonic looked like a freaking nightmare. Sonic the Hedgehog looked like a freaking nightmare. We all spoke up about it. And what did the studio do? For once in history said, yeah, we're pulling it down, we're redoing it. And we got a great film. I mean, it was still cheesy Hollywood blockbuster shit, but it was still pretty fun. It was a nice family going, kind of like film. It was pretty fun. It was a light-hearted, enjoyable film. I really enjoyed it. And the biggest thing behind it was how Sonic looked now. It looked like Sonic. Yes, sure, it wasn't, as much as the 3D anime, or like it is a cross blend of like the animation and real life, but it was more stylized and it did feel like Sonic, and it was great. So you telling me that we haven't seen the full story, I don't know why, like who cares? I'm seeing the trailer, I'm going to talk about the trailer. Everything looks like trash, the color palette is trash, the armors are trash, we look like a Batman's and all this weird, crazy weird shit. And by the way, I'm going to make a small parenthesis here. For the armors, some people are like, is this what you want them to look like? And they just put the single one bronze kind of armor that they have, that one that's like a cage. They only use that when there was a lot of different armors in that time period that they could have used. A lot of different armors. But even that armor, if you actually see it on a bulk masculine, powerful, strong soldier, it looks pretty fucking kick-ass. The problem is that even with the AI, the way they made it, you have this scrawny Matt Damon running around with his hands are like these little things, and it just it makes it obvious that he's just a scrawny prick in a metal piece. He looks like, it looks like a bell. You know how you have the bells and inside there's a little thing and you hit it? That's what he looks like. Of course it looks bad. And that's why they're trying to make all these armors, with muscles, all these exaggerated muscles, so they can make the scrawny guy look good. Meanwhile, Brad Pitt, for Achilles in Troy, he worked out on it. Do you guys remember the scene in the tent? Shit, if I was a woman, I'd be drooling too. His muscles and the way he's built, his physique was, that shows someone that actually went and worked out and tried to actually be the part. You know what I mean? That's the difference. So anyway, just to continue on that, the color palettes, the armors, everything I'm saying, the wording, it sounds like I'm listening to a bar or people talk on the street. I won't be surprised if it starts with Homer rapping. I won't be surprised if they make Homer black and he's rapping at the start, and then it leads into, with a nice funk melody, it goes into the film, and then he starts showing us the film, and it's like, hey yo, let's go, and they all go into the battle and shit like that, and then he shows the Odyssey. I won't be surprised at this point if that's how it starts, and if it ends with a rap as well. Just as Christopher Nolan came out and said, well, it's analogous to, lyrical poet. Watch Metatron's video, he says it better than me. Anyway, even if it's an analogous to the modern thing, it's like, at this point, it's not the Odyssey. I don't want to go see a modern rendition of an ancient Greek myth. I can go watch Marvel to do that. I don't give a shit. The whole point behind an ancient Greek myth is to see ancient Greece and to see the myth as it was and as it was presented and do a good job of it. That's your job. But that's not the job of the Hollywood, is it? So, telling me we haven't seen the full story, it doesn't tell me shit, because half the shots look bad. Even the shot where he's on the beach and he screams "let's go," which alone is bad. If you look at the camera angle and how he feels, there's nothing epic about it. He feels like just a guy that runs around and starts running. It looks like there's so many shots in it that just look so bad. Some shots look okay, and some, I've seen a couple of shots that look okay, but for the most part it just looks so bad, and it doesn't feel like ancient Greece. And you look at the actors take you out, nothing feels lived in, doesn't feel genuine, doesn't feel authentic, and that's the biggest problem, the biggest issue that people had when they first saw the trailer, when they didn't even know that Helen of Troy was going to be black, and all these other things. We didn't know all that stuff, but when we first saw the trailer, we're like, this looks like it doesn't feel right, you know what I mean? And that's the first essence, that's the first thing, it's got to feel good. It's got to feel like ancient Greece. If it's not going to feel like ancient Greece, then why are you doing a mythology for? What's the point? Call it something else. Call it Nolan's fucking freak fantasy of what the Odyssey would have been like if he was Homer today, or some shit. Don't give me that. Don't. Anyway, we'll put that to the side. So that's a stupid excuse as well. They're fictional beings. I covered that already. Mythology is not real. But here's the funny part: Athena is magical, so we can change anything. So, and this is what they said. So you're okay with, a magical being, but you're not okay with this race wolf? No, I'm not okay with the fucking race wolf. What the fuck is wrong with you? That magical being, Athena, has specific symbolism. Again, especially the gods that have specific symbolism. There's a reason why there's 12 gods at Olympus, by the way. There's a reason why there's 6 female and there's 6 male. And if you don't know all those fucking, symbolic things behind it and how they tie to the human nervous system and so many other things and energies and a whole bunch of shit, then that just shows that you are, well, I won't say illiterate because that's not correct. You're just a foreigner to this information, this knowledge. You don't understand it because you haven't looked into it, because you haven't cared, and that's okay. You're not obliged to care, but to actually come to me and dictate and tell me what it is without knowing anything about it, it just shows how ignorant you are. And ignorance is the downfall of society. That's the problem. We keep ignoring things until they reach a point where they can't be ignored anymore. Until you've pushed way too far. Athena is very specific. It has a very specific, again, look, feel. Like I said, I already covered this in the first point that I said. And it's an ancient Greek myth based on ancient Greeks. Even if it's made up characters, even if Achilles is an extreme exaggeration, show me that it's extreme exaggeration of Achilles. Because that's what the story shows me. That's what the story is about. You want to make a realistic rendition of it? At least make him look like an ancient Greek warrior. not like an ancient Greek child, female child in the skin of a man. Okay? At least show me Helen of Troy being Spartan, fair-haired, with blue eyes. I'm just saying. It's just a thought. At least make Athena look Greek. Zendaya? Like, seriously? The goddess of wisdom and strategy and war tactics became Zendaya. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you guys have any idea how much of a powerful and huge, how much of a big symbol Athena is in ancient Greek culture, and by extension to a lot of modern Greeks as well? Athena. You're fucking with my history. I said that before, and I said I'm only gonna say it once, but I don't think I am. I'm gonna keep saying it. Stop fucking with my history. Okay? And all your black Athena shit, shove them up your ass. There's no fucking historical evidence on that. You're trying to hijack another culture to make it yours. Why? Because you're fucking jealous. Let's just say it as it is. I'm gonna go and say things as they are, straight to the point, because it's already gonna be a pretty long video, and I got a lot of points to go through, and I'm gonna fucking, you know, hit every single one of them on the mark, so you can all just understand it. Your little simple brains can fucking grasp it. The next thing we have here. Oh, here's a good one. Oh, here's a good one. I don't care about consistency. My question is, if you don't care, then make your own story. Why are you here? If you don't care, then why are you here? I just want to see a great film from Nolan. Okay, so me bitching and whining over my history being ruined, and other historical people that it's not their history, but it's like, you know, it's world heritage at that point, and they're like, holy shit, they're ruining history, and it offends them as historians as well. All of us, we don't have an opinion, we can't say anything, and it's okay, and we should shut up because you don't care. The fact that you don't care, if anything, should mean that you should fuck off and do something else and stop fucking around with other people's heritage and histories and cultures and all that shit. And yes, it is history, because even if it's, like I explained at the beginning, even if it's myth, and if it's fiction, or if it's folklore, or whatever it is, those stories, those symbolisms, those heroes, they're part of traditions and culture that have become a heritage of a specific nation for 3,000 fucking years. You don't have the right to change it around just as you see fit because you don't care. If you don't care, fuck off. Which now brings us to the next part. You do care. Let's be honest here. You do care. You want to blackwash things, you want to gender swap shit, and you want to ruin ancient Greek history. Why? That's a video for another time, about the darkness versus the light. I'm going to make that into a separate video, the darkness versus the light, and why they do this. Because if you think about it, and I've had these conversations in the past as well, Greek mythology is a gold mine when it comes to making films. Why don't they use it though? That's for another video. So again, you do care. You do care because you're trying to pass an agenda. You do care because you're trying to change history. There's a lot of miscellaneous it's called, people that hate Greeks, and there's a lot of them in Greece as well. And be careful of those people. And honestly, they hate anything that's Greek. So they try to either hijack it, make it theirs, or ruin it, or destroy it, or completely change its symbolism and its meanings. I don't care if you don't like something. Fuck off, it's not yours. You have no right to hijack my culture, my history, and even if it wasn't my culture and history, you think I was happy with Assassin's Creed's Shadow? Or Shadow Blade thingy, whatever the fuck it was called? Like, seriously? Japan is like one of my favorite historical periods, like, you know, feudal Japan with, you know, the samurai and all stuff. I never played that game, and I'm never gonna touch it, because they ruined Japanese history. It's not like this goes in every single direction, whether it be Japanese, Norse, whatever it is. You do your best to represent it accurately, or you fuck off. That's all it is. Leave your agendas out the door. So I think you really do care, because if you didn't care, then you wouldn't be bothered about me saying that, oh man, this is changing history. You're like, oh yeah, probably is, but who cares? Like, or you wouldn't say that. You'd be like, yeah, I don't care, but yeah, I get how you feel. Which is what I was saying at the beginning as well. People don't fucking understand how to accept opinions and differences of opinions and whatnot. Like, if you don't care, you just accept it as an opinion, but you're so hot and bothered over it, you actually do care, and you're calling us racist and all this other weird shit in the book, conservatives. 80% of the people that are backlashing on this are not even in America. They're not even in the US. Are you slow? You calling me conservative? Like, what are you doing? Like, You think America is the only place that exists, and as soon as we disagree with you, changing and ruining history and swapping cultures and races and race swapping and taking a culture and representing it completely different to what it was, we not being okay with that makes us racist? Like, are you serious? Or are you just that ignorant that you don't understand how stupid what you're saying is? I think that you do care, and that's where I go into the last point that I wanted to close up with, that they're trying to interject their own ideas and stories to actually ruin the true symbolism of the Odyssey. Like, for example, they made Penelope be the like an objectification and shit like that. You guys have no fucking idea what the story is about. It's about the return to ascension, to transcendence. That was the story, that was the whole point of the Odyssey. You think he fucking was stuck for 10 years in the fucking sea? Are you dumb? Are you dumb? Like, seriously, the Aegean? Have you seen how small the Aegean is? You think he could fucking find his way to his island? When he lost time? When he went to specific places? Like, the things that he was going through, these are psychological, symbolical states. And this is a very symbolical, story. That's why, like I said, you don't fuck around with the story and the symbolism. Penelope is supposed to be the pure, the fair, the core, the anchor, the home. It's the return. It's everything that is pure and that is, and people trying to defile that pureness is all the people that are around it, the guys trying to take your place and trying to defile that pureness. And that pureness is something that it symbolizes that it always stays true. And your journey in life is to return back to the light. She is the light, and his home is the light. Once you understand this, you understand how important Penelope is and what she actually symbolizes. How can you possibly start sitting there and looking at her as objectification and all this other weird shit? You guys never fucking understood what the lore was about. You guys never fucking understood what it was about because you don't have the depth and the capacity to understand it. It's been around for 3,000 years, and if you don't know the details, how about you come to actual Greeks and we'll fill you in on the details? Does that sound good? No, but you don't care. No, it's worse than that. You do care, but you want to interject your own opinions and you want to ruin everything. And the biggest problem behind all this is that, to begin with, you're already starting at a point and at a place where you're not even understanding what you're reading or what you're seeing, because the depth behind it and the symbolism is far too beyond your grasp and your horizons for you to be able to understand what it means to return to the light. You don't understand it. You can't grasp this. And that's one or two things. Either one, you're just not ready to understand it yet as a soul, and it will take you time, and at some point you will be ready for it, or you're of darkness and the light scares you. That's why you're trying to taint it. I think you care a lot because you're interjecting all this weird shit everywhere, and if you didn't care, like, honestly, if you don't care, then why not just make the story as it was? You don't care. So as long as you get a good film, hey, Nolan, I don't care. So why don't you just give me the story as it was? You do care. And I'm gonna say this one last time. Don't fuck with our culture and history. Okay? It's not yours to fuck with. I think that's pretty much all the points that I wanted to go through as a first video, talking about the Odyssey and trying to cover most of it. There is a bigger underlying kind of message in all of this. Why they're doing it and what the point is behind all this and why we're seeing all these things. There's a very, deep underlying message in all of this at this moment, and I'm going to get to that in another video, because it's not by luck that they're actually doing this. And if you think that they're just doing this for being creative or whatever, no guys, don't fool yourselves. And that's why I think it's time we start speaking up and we start shutting down all these outlets of darkness, all these sources of darkness. I think it's time we started fighting back with information, wisdom, knowledge, get people enlightened and educated and wake them up. Because this, you've been pushing, it's reaching, it doesn't go anymore. That's it. This is the end of the line. This is the end of the line. Okay, you've been fucking, especially with Greek history, by the way, for decades now. You've been screwing with Christianity for decades. You've been really pushing agendas and all this crazy shit, and it's reached the point where it's like, you know what? That's it. Enough. Enough. Your end it stops here. Your end has come when it comes to your influence and how you're actually going to constantly be pushing all these agendas out there. It's time we all got up and started talking. Enough is enough. This is where we draw the line. Okay? We should have drawn the line ages ago, but you don't seem to understand, because we do push back and we do inform, we do talk, we do speak up, but you still don't seem to get it. You don't seem to get it. So I think we need to collectively be even more active with regards to how much we're actually going to help people just wake up. And for those people that don't know and they're like, they're in between, they're like, I don't know what's going on here and all that shit. Well, look into it so you can actually see what's happening, so you can be informed and educate yourselves. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, honestly, it's mostly for a message for the people, like as a response to all the bullshit that they're saying. But I know they're never gonna watch it, because those people are just, they're incapable of listening to over 120 characters. They're incapable of seeing more than 5-10 second TikTok reels. That they've been trained to not be able to have a capacity of being able to see a thorough opinion and conversation being done, of points being expressed and analyzed without them losing cohesiveness. It's like, like in the first 10 seconds they're already checked out. They're probably written a comment if it's in the video, saying this and that and the other shit, and most likely saying something that I've already answered in the video. I mean, there's so much more I can say on this. Like, I can go for another hour easily, but I think we're pretty good here at this point. So those of you that this video is kind of meant for, I feel sorry for you if you don't have the balls to actually go through with this. Those that are in between and you're wondering what, why, and when, check this video out. I hope you enjoyed it, and to kind of get you to understand a little bit that, some of these excuses that they're saying, it's really half-assed excuses, like it's not real. And Lord of the Rings is not real either. Does that give me the right to go and rewrite Tolkien's book and just present it however the fuck I feel? And even if I do that because I'm doing a movie adaptation of it, does it give me the right to tell all the people that love the book to shut up because it's not like the book, and I'm like, shut up, you know what you're talking about? How don't they? I'm based on the material that they have read, and we're all focused around that specific material, and I'm doing that material injustice. Of course they have the right to have an opinion on it. See what I'm saying? If you keep it simple, stupid, you see how dumb all their excuses are. And it all falls flat, it falls through. And you can see the agenda and the bias. We have the woke people. They're happy about this because they're being represented, which on its own is slow, and it's that of darkness. I used to watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith, and a whole bunch of other shit. I grew up on Tupac and Ice Cube. Did I have to be black to feel represented? Like, what are we talking about here? I grew up watching, Bruce Lee and Jet Li and all these other, cool Chinese martial arts stars, and Jackie Chan. Do they have to be Greek for me to feel represented? It's very stupid what you're saying. Like, the people that need to feel represented, you have an identity crisis and you have issues. Again, that's for another video, So the only people that are okay with this are the Nolanites, which they're like, whatever Nolan does is gold. Whatever, bias. And then the only other bunch of people that are okay with this are the woke people, that they just want to see everything burn. Ironically enough, it's a phrase from one of Nolan's films. So, there you go. The rest of the world is smart enough to look at this and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. You just took Greek culture and you just done whatever the fuck you want with it. Completely changed the meanings, completely changed the symbolisms, you race swap, you done whatever the fuck you want with it. This isn't the Odyssey. This is wrong. This is wrong. And if you don't care, it means nothing to me. The fact that you don't care doesn't mean anything to me. That's not an excuse. It doesn't mean that because you don't care, I don't have to care. What I care about is my choice. Simple. And if you don't like something, look the other way, go into another direction, and make your own shit. It's not that hard. Oh, that's right, you can't make anything creative though, so you just hijack whatever already exists and try to ruin it. I know, it's hard. I mean, if you have darkness inside you, it's hard to create. I know that, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one, which I'm probably going to be continuing talking about some of these themes and some of these talks, because there's a lot to unpack here, and this is just the first of several to come. I think it's time we talked. I think it's time we spoke up. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, Peace be with you.